트리 트리입니다. 예쁘죠?
Could it be Santa Claus waiting for me?
Where is she going? Which country comes to mind when we think of Christmas?
어딘데요?
Are you asking because you really don't know?
아, 혹시 산타의 나라?
Yes. Everyone, do you know where Santa Claus lives? There are several places that claim to be the hometown of Santa Claus, and Rovaniemi in northern Finland is one of them. In 1927, a Finnish radio DJ claimed that Santa Claus's workshop had been discovered in Lapland in Finland. And Finnish children came to believe that Santa Claus lived there. In 1985, a full-fledged Santa Claus village was created about 8 kilometers away from Rovaniemi, the administrative center of Lapland. There are various attractions here, including Santa Claus Main Post Office, Santa Claus Office, and Santa's Igloo's Arctic Circle. They say 500,000 tourists visit this Santa Claus village every year. I want to visit sometime too. Merry Christmas, everyone!
So today, we came to the country of Santa Claus, the Finnish Ambassador's residence. And do you see what I'm wearing today? It is all for Christmas. Also, we've prepared some items for Christmas.
나와요?
산타가 되어주세요. 끝나고 약속했어요? 다시.
메리 크리스마스.
And let me introduce today's guest. And do you see there's a big screen here that we haven't seen before? And who is that person over there that the ambassador is saying hello to?
와, 크리스마스에 산타의 나라 핀란드 대사님 만나는 거 너무 좋은 아이디어인 것 같아요.
Right.
네, 역시 톡톡님 아이디어가 좋네요.
I have another great idea.
뭔데요?
Since this year marks the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Korea and Finland,
네.
I think it would be good to end the year by talking about the anniversary.
오, 괜찮은데요?
I even prepared a special guest.
누군데요?
Come closer here.
아, 좋은데요? 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
예, 안녕하세요.
잘 들리세요?
예, 잘 들립니다.
I think we can begin now.
시작해도 될까요? So we have a very special guest today, Ambassador Kim. Could you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Yeah, hello. Good morning in Helsinki. My name is Jung-ha Kim. I'm ambassador of Korea to Finland. I arrived here in January and I have very meaningful time in Helsinki celebrating our 50th anniversary of diplomatic relationship between Korea and Finland.
So have you two met each other before?
Yes, of course, in Seoul and the early November when our Prime Minister Han visited here in Helsinki, Ambassador Metso, he accompanied my Prime Minister here in Helsinki.
Hello, Ambassador Kim. How are you doing?
Good, fine.
And thank you very much for the last time. It was such a tremendously great time with your Prime Minister. I have been praising the trip, the way how you did it, how you organized, and your Prime Minister, he's the superstar on the global arena.
Yes, thank you.
So the reason why we invited you two is because 2023 marks the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Korea and Finland. Yay!
In consideration of its neighbor, Russia, Finland pursued a neutral foreign policy before establishing diplomatic relations with South Korea. And in establishing relations with the two Koreas, Finland demonstrated the principle of not establishing diplomatic ties with divided countries, and tried to refrain from giving the impression that it was partial to one side. In April 1973, Finland simultaneously recognized both Koreas and established diplomatic relations with both Koreas. South Korea opened its embassy in Finland in August 1973, and Finland opened its embassy in South Korea in November 1978. A Finnish embassy in North Korea also opened, but it was closed in April 1992. After the end of the Cold War, Finland focused on cooperation with South Korea and worked to strengthen practical cooperation. Finland supported South Korea's position in various international organizations, including the UN, and actively supported South Korea's policy toward North Korea on the issue of reunification. Meanwhile, the volume of trade between South Korea and Finland has steadily increased since the establishment of diplomatic ties in 1973, exceeding $3.3 billion in 2008. South Korea's main export products to Finland include passenger cars, inorganic materials, EVs, and synthetic resins, while its main import products include other fine chemical fuels, nickel ingots, and scrap and generators. Also, the visa exemption agreement signed in February 1974 allowed citizens of both Korea and Finland to enter each other's country without a visa for 90 days.
So first, what are your thoughts on celebrating the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries? Ambassador Metso?
I have to say that this year has really been the highlight of my time here. It's been fantastic here. First of all, we tried to reach all different age groups. We had events for children in Nami Island. We have had concerts, classical music concerts by Sibelius, by SBO, and also a soul music festival. We have had craziness for all generations in Daegu Chimek Festival. So I think we have got everybody on board to celebrate together this very special year. And what has really struck me on that many of these events, the initiative has come from the Korean side. So we have just like sung along with them and things have gone smoothly. So this really resonates very well of the very close and friendly relationship between our two countries.
Just a minute. Let me briefly introduce an event celebrating Korea and Finland's 50th anniversary of diplomatic ties held in Seoul. We were invited to this event as well. First, there was an exhibition celebrating the 50th anniversary. This exhibition is a collection of Finnish crafts that writer, curator, and art director Amy An has collected throughout her life. After her death in 2022, she donated it all to the Finnish Embassy. Is this a familiar tune? Yes, it is Finlandia by Finnish composer Jean Sibelius. It is a performance by the KBS Symphony Orchestra String Quartet. The conductor of the KBS Symphony Orchestra is also Finnish. There was also a space to introduce Finnish companies. In celebration of the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations, it was an event where the special relationship between Korea and Finland could be seen in various ways. I also learned a lot about Korea-Finland relations I didn't know before.
So So how would you evaluate the relationship for the past 50 years, Ambassador Kim?
It is widely acknowledged that over the 50 years, the relationship between the two countries has made significant progress across various sectors. The collaboration between Korea and Finland in shipbuilding and telecommunication sectors has notably contributed to Korea's economic growth. The building upon these successful partnerships, both countries are currently expanding their cooperation into diverse fields such as information and communication technology, startups, energy, healthcare, quantum technology, and defense and space technologies. Furthermore, there has been a notable increase in people-to-people exchanges. Since the year of 1974, following the establishment of diplomatic relations in 1973, citizens of Korea and Finland have been able to travel to each other's countries without requiring visa. Before the pandemic, the scale of interpersonal exchanges reached approximately 50,000 individuals a year.
So you two are experts on Korea-Finland relations, so let me ask you this question. What would you pick as the most significant event in the diplomatic history of our two countries over the past 50 years? Ambassador Metso?
I think the most important in my mind comes the year 1987. And that was the year when the first resident ambassador from Finland started to live here in Seoul. That makes tremendous difference when you have the eyes in the country and you are not following the country from another base. And actually we have been living in this very same house that I love from the bottom of my heart. And this summer I also met in Finland the very first Finnish ambassador, Juha Puromies, in Helsinki. So that I think is the most important thing, because we are the messengers. We travel around, we really create the love. I'm totally in love with the Korean food. Your nature is world top. So these kind of messages I can tell to my government only by living here concretely.
So what would you pick, Ambassador Kim?
The connection between Korea and Finland traces back to before the establishment of diplomatic relations in 1973. In 1939, the Finnish linguistics professor Gustav John Ramstedt played a significant role in introducing the Korean language to the Western world by authoring the world's first English language Korean grammar book.
Finnish linguist and diplomat Gustav John Ramstedt is the author of the world's first English-language Korean grammar book. Ramstedt studied Latin, Greek, and Hebrew at the University of Helsinki to become a priest, but changed his career path when he became interested in linguistics. From 1898 to 1912, he explored Siberia, Central Asia, and Mongolia, studying languages using materials he collected during his travels. Ramstedt became a professor at the University of Helsinki in 1917 and was dispatched as Finland's envoy to Japan from 1920 to 1929. While working in Tokyo, he learned Korean from a Korean student. After returning to Finland to work as a professor, Ramstedt taught Korean language and history from 1934 and published the world's first Korean grammar book in English called A Korean Grammar in 1939. This book made a significant contribution to the Korean language education of foreign soldiers deployed to Korea when the Korean War broke out in 1950. Ramstedt was posthumously awarded the Sungnu Medal by the Korean government in 1971 for his contribution to promoting the Korean language to the international community and his research in Korean language etymology.
He dedicated himself to study of Korean and authored not only the Korean grammar book, but also studies in Korean etymology in 1949. I believe his contribution served as both the starting point and a valuable foundation for the lasting friendship between Korea and Finland.
That is a fascinating story. I've never heard this story before, so thank you for sharing this story with us today.
I have the original copy of this book
Wow.
that Ambassador Kim mentioned upstairs. So you can start glancing this book. So it's part of my weekly readings, let's put it this way.
Ambassador Metso showed me a Korean grammar book of his.
Are you studying Korean with this book?
I have glanced. But the funny thing is what worked like 1939 seems to work still today in order to understand the grammar.
Isn't it amazing that the person who wrote the world's first English grammar book is Finnish?
So, Ambassador Kim, in a letter congratulating the 50th anniversary, President Yoon Suk-yeol said that he hoped to strengthen friendship through various cultural exchange events to commemorate the anniversary. So, were there any Korea-related events in Finland this year?
Yes, this year, various cultural events have taken place in Finland. In May, the Embassy of Korea in Finland jointly organized the Korea-Finland e-sports festival online. Given the global competitiveness of both countries in the computer gaming industry and the keen interest amongst the participating youth, this event had a significant meaning. It is my great honor to commemorate this special occasion. This occasion holds special significance as Korea and Finland celebrate the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations this year.
We look forward to having many colorful events to promote Korea and Finland next year.
The awareness of Korean culture in Finland is highly praised, and over the past year, I have met many Finns from various fields, and the majority have shown not only interest but also warmth towards the Korean culture, allowing me to truly feel the soft power of culture. And local media in Finland also prominently featured Korean culture. In August, major local media outlets introduced Korean cuisine, featuring interviews with Korean restaurant owners in Finland. And University of Helsinki, which has been offering Korean studies since 1987, has seen a remarkably high competition rate of 27-1 for admission to the Korean language program. Now, Korean is one of the most popular foreign languages in Finland.
Is that true, Ambassador Metso?
Absolutely. I'm a close friend to the Korean professor who is teaching at the Helsinki University, and I think they have problems of accommodating the people who really want to join the Korean classes. And my relative last summer, 12 years old, Sana, surprised me by speaking Korean to me. She's a great lover of K-pop music, and she was shocked that my Korean has not advanced wider because she was ahead of me with her enthusiasm of K-pop based Korean language studies. So that is really true.
So, Ambassador Kim, in July, the Korea-Finland summit was held on the occasion of the NATO summit. And in November, Korean Prime Minister Han Duck-soo visited Finland and held talks with Finnish Prime Ministers.
Yes, the two presidents exchanged views on the advancement of bilateral relations, strengthening substantive cooperation and collaboration on the global stage. And particularly, they focused on enhancing cooperation in the fields of information and communication technology and startups, 6G technologies, and supply chains. And President Yoon congratulated Finland on its accession to NATO in April of this year. And both leaders exchanged opinions on major international issues, including the situation in the Korean Peninsula. And following the summit meeting, Prime Minister Han visited Finland on November 2nd for talks with Prime Minister Orpo. The Prime Ministers shared the view that their countries are like-minded nations and expressing agreement on strengthening cooperation in such areas as climate change, digital technology, and eco-friendly technologies, as well as in global supply chain sectors. And I believe that through the presidential summit in July and the prime ministerial meeting in November, our leaders have laid a strong groundwork for the development of bilateral relations over the next 50 years.
So at the Korea-Finland summit, President Yoon Suk-yeol congratulated Finland on joining NATO. So what effect will this have on relations with Korea?
First of all, what made us to join the NATO, the reason, of course, was the horrible Russian aggression against Ukraine. So Finnish nation was very united, so people decided that this is the right decision to do, to join the NATO. That happened April 4th this year.
Finland has maintained military neutrality for over 70 years since World War II. However, when Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, anxiety over security intensified, and public opinion in favor of joining NATO increased sharply. On April 4th, 2023, Finland became the 31st member of NATO. Finland's accession to NATO has changed Europe's security landscape. Finland shares a 1,300-kilometer-long border with Russia to the east. Until now, Russia's border with NATO allies was about 1,400 kilometers long, but its length has nearly doubled. Meanwhile, Korea has cooperated closely with NATO since establishing a global partnership in 2006. In particular, Korea established a diplomatic mission to NATO in November 2022, enhancing opportunities for political dialogue with the alliance. On July 11th this year, the Korea-NATO Individually Tailored Partnership Program, or ITPP, was signed. The ITPP contains upgrades to the existing comprehensive partnership between Korea and NATO in relation to cyber defense, new technologies, and arms control, disarmament, and non-proliferation. As a result, Korea-NATO relations were upgraded from a comprehensive relationship sharing values to a specific relationship that institutionalizes cooperation in each field.
Korea, on the other hand, is also on the way of establishing closer connections with NATO, and I can see great possibilities in the field of science and research. We have to find partners that we can totally trust when we are sharing critical technologies. We have seen it now again. You know what has been going on between Russia and North Korea. That also has meant a lot to Korea here to look at the Russia as part of totally different value family than we are. So this has brought Finland and Korea much closer together.
So Korea and Finland signed an MOU on trade and investment promotion framework in September. So how did this agreement come about?
Here again, like this year started in a fantastic way because our Ministry of Communication and Telecommunication visited Finland already in January. And if I say that the main focus was in 6G, space and quantum technologies, so during that visit, your Trade Minister Ahn suggested that this kind of framework for trade and investment could be signed between our two countries. And I have to say that we worked the Korean way, pali pali, and we got it ready just when we had a 50th anniversary here, 21st of September, when our Vice Minister from Foreign Minister was visiting, and that was then the proper time to sign it. Our expectations are really that this will mean an enforcement of cooperation in the critical supply chains in the geopolitical scene that the world is facing right now, but then also in a wider range of different economic and industry fields where we can work together closer.
So Ambassador Kim, are there any areas you'd like to see more cooperation between the two countries in the future?
Yes, leveraging the collaboration experience and trust established over the past 50 years, I anticipate the two countries evolving into close partnership in tackling global challenges. Given the competitive strengths of both nations in digital and innovative technologies, there is a promising prospect for broadening cooperation in areas such as climate change, renewable energy, environmental technologies, and artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. And additionally, in line with the development of bilateral relations, concerted efforts should be directed towards enhancing the mutual understanding and expanding exchanges among the next generation youth.
Ambassador Metso?
I would also like to stress as a cornerstone of our future cooperation the science and research, whether we talk about between institutes or between companies. I have been mentioning here batteries, but then also I would like to bring one important issue for the future, and that's the hydrogen. I would like to see our countries working very closely in the field of hydrogen and all kinds of new partnership that we need in order to enforce our cooperation in supply chains. And then, as Ambassador Kim also mentioned, it's very important to have a vivid people-to-people connections. Our national carrier Finnair flies daily to Incheon. Let's hope that in the future they fly even more frequently than daily. And then also that finally their route to Busan can be open. So these are very important steps when I can see that we learn to know each other and have more contacts in the future.
If I say in one sentence, Finland is a steadfast, reliable and endurable partner of Korea.
We would be like-minded countries with same values and goals for our common future.
We met the Finnish ambassador to Korea and the Korean ambassador to Finland for Christmas. And we celebrated the 50th anniversary of Korea and Finland's diplomatic relations in our own way by talking with the two ambassadors. What did you think? Did you learn a lot of new things about the relationship? We hope that today's episode of Diplomat Talks will serve as a bridge between Korea and Finland, and the two countries will become closer together. And lastly,
Merry Christmas, everyone!
I think I should say Hyvää joulua.
Hyvää joulua.
Hyvää joulua.
Likewise, Hyväjoulu to everybody.
행복한 크리스마스 보내세요. In Korean.
I hope all of you have the opportunity to visit Finland and experience it firsthand and meet Santa in his hometown. Happy New Year. Thank you.